Ah, good. I was hoping you'd show up. Lyris was right. This camp is crawling with the Ice Reach Coven. And they're definitely producing the medallions here. I was even able to slip away with one. We need to get closer, though. There's more to figuring out this magic than just watching from afar. I need to know exactly how they go about creating them. With your help, we can learn everything about that here in this camp. It's a landing site for the boats coming from the island of Ice Reach. Plus, they're collecting something here that goes into the process of creating the medallions. If you can get me to the center of the camp, I can learn what that is. Determining how they create these medallions will be an enormous help. The Grey Host has accelerated their plans. They need more medallions for a reason. A big harrow storm is coming. We need to be ready. Because the Grey Host is guarding something down there. I couldn't get close, but it appeared that they built the camp to surround something. Plus, I heard a few of the witches talking. Complaining, really, about needing to prepare more medallions. In the First Era, an army of vampires and werewolves tried to conquer the land before they were stopped in Bankarai. They called themselves the Grey Host. It seems this Rada al-Saran has resurrected the army, both figuratively and literally. Corpses? What do they have to do with the medallions? Let's examine the nearby graveyard. Examine the headstones. Let's determine what's so special about the exhumed bodies. Finished? Have you come to any conclusions? Well, we've both been over the headstones with a fine-toothed comb. If we can determine why the Coven dug up these particular bodies, it will tell us something about how the medallions were enchanted. Of course, compare notes and look for commonalities. You have the makings of a fine scholar, my friend. Now, let's see. I noticed there were a mix of different races buried here. They weren't all Nords. Anything strike you about the departed? Really? What was that? Well, of course, they did. Tell me more. Well, yes, but so were the bodies that weren't disturbed. We're trying to determine what the exhumed corpses have in common, remember? Of course. Compare... They did. I don't think that's it. Some died from... Of course, they did. Of course. Why didn't I see that? The headstones on the exhumed graves all mention that the person was old when they died. Let me think. Some necrotic spells require the remains of the elderly. Something to do with the natural decay of life. According to one necromantic theory, the older a living thing becomes, the more necrotic energy it naturally acquires. As a body grows old and withers, the life inside it decays. Necrotic energy is the byproduct of this deterioration. I now know enough about how they create the medallions to move my research along. I'll return to the Blue Palace and start putting an elixir together. To fully craft an elixir to defend against the Harrowstorms, I still require a sample of refined netherroot brew. Plus, we need to determine what the Grey Host has planned. Help Lyris and Svanna at the other camps. Then meet me at the Blue Palace. Princess Svanna is braver than I imagined. That just leaves Lyris's attempt to acquire a sample of the refined netherroot brew from the Midland camp. Head there and see if she needs any support.
Just arrived. Don't worry, I found something to keep me occupied. A bold move setting up camp in the midst of the Western Holds. I'll say this for the Grey Host. They aren't afraid to draw attention to themselves. I learned a few things while I was waiting for you to show up. It's just as we thought. The Grey Host is using this camp as a supply depot for their raids across the countryside. I saw stacks of witch pikes, rows of reliquaries, and jars of what I assume is the refined netherroot brew. Right. And I heard the camp leader, a nasty creature named Sableye, tell his troops to make sure to use the new supply that just arrived from Blackreach. Let's go grab a jar or two. Time to dismember the monsters! No jars in this cart. Let's try another one. Not this cart either. I hope we didn't miss it. Sableye has the brew. Let's find him before he gets away. You got a jar of the refined brew? Let's talk over here. Luck was with us. If we had reached this camp even a few moments later, Sableye would have gotten away with the netherroot brew. After all this trouble, Fen better be able to use it to make his elixir. I'll take the jar of refined netherroot brew to Solitude. We'll meet up in Svanna's chambers when everyone gets back from their missions. I hope they're all right. We got what we need from this camp, and since Fen and Svanna are already on their way back to Solitude, we might as well head there too. Go on. I'll meet you at the Blue Palace. In addition to the refined netherroot brew, Fen needs information on the Ice Reach Coven medallions. Plus, we're hoping to learn more about the big storm the Grey Host has planned. Help Fen and Svanna at the other camps, then meet me in Solitude. I suppose congratulations are in order. Just remember, we still have a long way to go to end the threat of the Grey Host. For now, let's get back to the Blue Palace. I'll meet you there.
Yeah!
Another day, another infernal hell.
So, do we have a way to defend against the Harrow Storms, or what?
The elixir should do what we need, provided neither Fen nor I made any miscalculations.
Yolen, don't be so negative. The elixir will work. We'll see. Good, you're back. Mjolnir and I have been discussing the various ways to turn what we've got into a protective elixir. I'm hesitant to get too excited, but I think we've figured out how to defend against the Harrowstorms. The Grey Host uses an unstable mix of alchemy and sorcery to create the Harrowstorms. An arcane ritual and the Netherroot brew focus the power of each Harrowstorm through the prepared witch pikes. Ingenious, but fully exploitable. We can use the refined brew as the basis of our elixir. Now that we understand how the Harrowstorms are created, we can use those same components to replicate the medallion's protective properties. We just need to gather the necessary components. Svana's associate, Mog, will procure most of the supplies I need, but there's one final ingredient required. For various reasons, I can't simply walk into the Hall of the Dead and claim it myself. I need you to acquire Arkay's sacred oil. A holy ointment associated with a god that became popular due to imperial influence. It's used by the priests in the Hall of the Dead to provide protection against necromancy and the undead. We need that oil to create our elixir.
Knowing the orders my father has been issuing of late, you might need my help to acquire Arkay's sacred oil. I'll meet you at the Hall of the Dead.
To the Hall of the Dead with you. Hurry along! Ingert still serves as High Priest, I believe. We're much the same, he and I. Yet he gets the fancy temple. And I get a hut in the woods.
You'll need my help. I'll meet you at the Hall of the Dead. Mog, put away the tankard and get the supplies Fen requires.
Yes, your royal ladiness. But I'm keeping the tankard. Svana's giving orders. Thinks she's a proper princess now, she does. Well, I am an expert at
Go ahead. Get what Fen needs from the Hall of the Dead. I'll make sure Mog follows through on procuring the rest of the supplies. He can be easily distracted in case you haven't noticed.
More refugees arrive by the hour. Why does Fargrim hesitate?
The High King issues orders, but all they do is lock away the afflicted. When will we strike back? I hoped the words of the High Priest would offer some comfort, but no. The poor man seems more in need of the princess. Can we really trust that troubled young woman?
The Harrowstorms continue to ravage our land, filling the city walls with people crying for protection. And what does the High King do? Next to nothing. Oh, he makes small gestures, but still things worsen. So he has. But have soldiers been sent to Morthal? Has aid been dispatched to Carthald? No, not yet. Svargrim helps the people that flow into the city, while the rest of Western Skyrim suffers. We must fight.
Princess Vana, what can I do for you, your highness?
Listen to my friend, High Priest. We need your help.
I'm surprised to see the princess here. As you can see, the influx of refugees has made this place much more hectic than usual. Sacred oil? Strange. That's the second time today someone has come seeking Arkay's anointing balm. Sword Thane Athlet arrived with an edict from the king. Demanded our entire supply. How we're to consecrate the dead without it, I have no idea. The Sword Thane wouldn't say. He just mentioned that the High King needed it to defend Solitude. I'm sorry I can't comply with the princess's request. Things are hard enough that these refugees must take shelter here amongst the dead. The Sword Thane took the oil to Castle Dower. That's where all the supplies for a siege are gathered during periods of strife. I pray that High King Svargrim receives the patience and wisdom required to see us through this crisis. Solitude's foundation began with the construction of Castle Dower. It's the oldest structure in the city, and the most defensible. I tried to move the refugees there for safekeeping, but my request was denied. The High King has other plans, I suppose.
Has my father found a way to use this sacred oil against the Grey Host? Perhaps he's doing more than I thought. This Sword Thane has helped me in the past. He'll be reasonable. He has to be.
I should drown my troubles in mead. Does no one care?
As my father. What is it?
Hold! Castle Dower is... Princess Svana.
Sword Thane, our business is urgent. My friend will explain.
I don't have time for the princess's proclivities right now. The High King... We barely keep up with the multitude of tasks. So speak quickly, and let me get back to it. My orders from the High King were clear. Stockpile the entire supply of sacred oil in the Temple of the Divines here within the confines of Castle Dower. What in Shore's name does the princess need with holy oil anyway? Protection? Truly? The Herald already outnumber my soldiers, and more arrive every day. Still, giving you the oil would violate the High King's edict. I suppose if I happened to look the other way for a moment, I wouldn't notice if a flask disappears.
A single flask? Then we'll have to make do. Let's get it back to...
Sword Thane! Vi has work! I gave strict orders, yet my daughter freely enters the castle grounds. What do they want, Sword Thane?
They,
We came to offer our assistance, Father. Sword Thane, how can we help?
Athlet has everything well in hand, child. Despite your intentions, you would only hinder our efforts. Go! The Sword Thane doesn't need my daughter or her wastrel underfoot.
My father's never been what I'd call a warm and caring parent. But this crisis has made him even more distant. Let's get this sacred oil to Fen. My father will certainly change his attitude once we present the protective elixir to him. He's trying to protect me. It's what he does. And leave me out. Though I suppose that's mostly my own fault. I know Mother's death weighs on him, as does this entire crisis. That's why we have to help. This elixir is going to work. It has to. It's not that unusual. Castle Dower is the most defensible part of the city. In the past, we'd gather the people inside the walls. Now my father is using the fortress to house the Herald. They need to go somewhere, right? Come on, let's go.
Once it's ready, I'll test the elixir.
As you say, Lyris. Ah, here they come now. You have the sacred oil? Add it to the cauldron. Yes, a perfect fusion. It's ready to be tested. Come, let's talk. With the addition of the sacred oil, the elixir is complete. Before we produce enough to distribute to the people of Western Skyrim, we need to test it. I'm confident of my work, but we're dealing with powerful forces here. We can't wait for the next Hera storm to strike, but what you and Svanna learned in Blackreach might help. You heard that Exarch Ulfra was testing Herostorm rituals in a place called the Undergrove. We'll go there and let Lyris drink the elixir. During my explorations of Blackreach, I came across an ancient burial site, a place called the Midnight Barrow. This Undergrove must be inside those ruins. Once there, you and Svanna keep watch from a safe distance, while Lyris steps into the storm. From what I could tell, the Midnight Barrow sank into Blackreach in the distant past. Somewhere in its chambers, we'll find the Undergrove. The ruined barrow is in the Lightless Hollow, in the northwest portion of the cavern. We'll meet you there. We're going to find an active Herostorm in the Undergrove, or I'm going to attempt to replicate one in there. Then Lyris drinks the elixir, exposes herself to the dark magic, and we wait to see what happens. Very risky. But it's also our best chance to counter the Herostorms and fight back against the Grey Host. Either Lyris comes through fine, or she transforms into a Herod. Or a Hero Fiend. That's also a possibility.
Blackreach again, and a flask of foul-smelling elixir waiting to be guzzled down. Oh, joy.
This has to work. The safety of my people depends on it. Besides, I don't want to see Lyris get hurt.
Blackreach. If I were a little younger, I'd love to go with you. Do a little exploring. Ah, well. I suppose I'll stay here in the palace. Work on how to create more of the elixir once we know it's safe.
What do you want?
You and Fen stay put until we clear a path to the Undergrove.
Fine. Just don't take all day.
This is it. Look lively and let's get on with it. this must be the place. I'll go back and get...
No need. We're here.
The princess insisted.
We followed at a safe distance and only advanced after you cleared the way. From this point on, we stay together. And that's an order.
Yes. What she said. Now, let's enter the undergrowth. We need to find where they're experimenting with the Harrow Storms.
You honor me with your presence, my king.
Grey Host, stay quiet and listen.
This Harrow Storm must be the biggest we have ever wrought, my sister-in-arms.
That's the leader of the Grey Host.
Have we heard from Solitude? Is everything in place?
I have been assured the city is ripe for harvest.
Rada al-Saran and Exarch Ulfra. Should we postpone the test?
Certainly not. The holds are counting on us. Besides, we might be able to end this threat right here and now.
Who dares intrude? You. The murderers who killed our beloved Singalis.
And you're about to join him.
Impudent mortal! You will pay for your crime. Now for the rest of these curs.
My king, allow me the honor of spilling their blood.
Very well, sweet sister. Join me in Greymour Keep when the task is done.
Let this Harrow Storm flay the flesh from your bones!
We need to leave. Svanna, no!
Pray your elixir works.
Protect. It's time for the elixir to do its job.
For that, you die!
It worked. I think it worked. I stood in a Harrow Storm and nothing happened. Fenn's elixir is a success. And we took out another one of the Grey Host leaders. We've done good, my friend. Never better. We need to create as much of the elixir as possible and distribute it throughout Solitude before Rada al-Saran's massive Harrow Storm hits. I also want to find out who in the city is helping him. Let's meet back at the Blue Palace. Once my father understands that we have a way to protect against the Harrow Storms, he'll have to take us seriously. Let's get back to the city as fast as we can. I know, right? It happened so quickly. When we confronted Rada al-Saran and Exarch Ulfra, the Vampire Lord blasted Lyris with his magic. When I saw her fall, I knew I had to act. It certainly gave us a fighting chance. When she called forth the Harrow Storm, I grabbed the elixir from Lyris and barely thought about what I was doing. I just drank it down and walked into the storm. I don't disagree, but somebody had to do it. There wasn't any other option. And I'd do it again. My people are counting on me.
Tell me, do I have a new scar? Enough with the coddling. Let's get back to the Blue Palace.
You go on ahead. I'll make sure Lyris gets back to Solitude.
If you have any experience with jails or escapes, I can make you...
Listen to your daughter, Svargrim. We need to do something.
Don't test me, Redharn. I know exactly what I need to do. Our enemies circle ever closer, and now even my daughter turns against me. What's next? Will my beloved wife return to accuse me of some heinous crime? Well, get to it. Tell me about Svana's miraculous elixir before I have the lot of you tossed out. You represent my most hated enemy, and expect me to believe a word you say? Even if you speak true, worms have found purchase in the wood and seek to rot my kingdom from within. I will not let Solitude and the Western Holds fall. Trust Svana. Perhaps. No. No! Your honeyed words are but echoes of my most obstinate foes. You offer a miracle with one hand, while holding a poisoned dagger in the other. Hell, I need no help from the likes of you.
Don't be a fool, Father. This elixir will save our people.
I didn't think you had it in you, daughter. You have actually surpassed my expectations, more's the pity. And I'll hear no more talk of this miracle elixir. The Grey Host is my true ally. Once the Harrow Storm engulfs Solitude, my kingdom will endure for all eternity.
I should have sensed it. Svargrim's a vampire.
Svana.
Not now, Lyris. I need to think about this. I thought he was grieving, but it was all a ruse. My father, High King of Western Skyrim, in league with the Grey Host. Please, talk to Lyris. I need to consider what happens next.
It must be some sort of trick. The High King would never betray us. Would he?
How can this be? The High King? Sacrificing his own people? It's so hard to believe.
Svargrim, you bastard! People are dead, holds destroyed, and our High King had a hand in it? How will we survive this betrayal?
I should have suspected, sensed something. Svargrim has taken the curse, become a vampire. And he's working with the Grey Host. This is bad, my friend. Very, very bad.
I knew there was something wrong, but this? How could Svargrim throw in with the Grey Host? It's brazen, even for him.
Svargrim's a bastard, but King Yoren believed he had the best interest of his people at heart. Obviously, something changed. And with Solitude targeted for a massive Harrow Storm, things have gotten more complicated. Not everything is as grim as it appears. We did create an elixir. That's our best chance of protecting the people from the Harrow Storm. We just need to distribute it. In the meantime, take this. It may not seem like much, but you earned it.
Father, how could you? My father, working with the Grey Host. How long long has he been a part of this? Did he have a hand in Mother's death? And what has he told them? It's almost too much to bear. And then there's the Storm. My friend, I don't know what to do. You're right. I know you're right. It's just... he's my father. No. I have to focus. There's a Storm coming. We have to save the city. That's what's important right now. I'm not sure we can. But we can make more of Fenn's elixir. Get it into the hands of the people. We need more of Arkay's sacred oil, though. We'll have to take it from the supplies stockpiled at the Temple of the Divines.
They've taken it! By the gods, it's fallen!
Fallen? What are you talking about?
The Grey Host. They came out of nowhere, captured the temple and the Tower of the Wolf. We're locked out!
Then the sacred oil.
Damn it all! I need to get down there!
Follow him! Now, soldier, tell me exactly what happened.
They surprised us, attacked without warning. We barely got out of there alive before they sealed the gates. I don't know. It happened so fast. One moment I was patrolling the courtyard. The next I was fighting for my life. They were everywhere. A few of us barely managed to get out before they sealed themselves inside the temple and the tower. Who knows how those monsters stink? It's like they're waiting for something. As soon as I got out, I ran to the palace as fast as I could. Now I really ought to give the princess my full report.
What is it?
Yeah! Done. The Grey Host has found a foothold. Now the city is lost.
Not yet, it isn't. On your feet, Sword Thane. We have work to do.
Yes, Princess Svana. I apologize for that display. Tell the princess, tell her it won't happen again. You need to understand. I pledged my sword and my soul to the High King. We all did. And he betrayed us. Nothing good, I'm sure. The Grey Host appeared out of nowhere and cut down my soldiers. Only a handful were able to escape before they sealed the gates. Svargrim made us fortify the entryways. The bastard knew he'd lock us out. Not that I can think of, but what does it matter? Svargrim brought the Grey Host down upon us. He's bringing a storm. We need to evacuate the city while there's still time. Some of us will survive if we flee now.
That's unacceptable, Sword Thane. If we can't get the sacred oil to make more elixir, then we have to stop the Storm.
Princess, we've kept watch. There aren't any witch pikes around the city.
Then you missed something. They needed the witch pikes for every other Storm they summoned.
Of course. Blackreach. The Grey Host must have gained access to the temple from beneath the city.
They could easily hide the witch pikes underneath our feet.
We know the Grey Host has been using Blackreach to clandestinely move around Western Skyrim. Why not launch their attacks from there?
Then we're going back to Blackreach. If the witch pikes are there, we'll destroy them.
As a junior member of House Ravenwatch, I never expected to be in the thick of things like this. I have to say, it's a tad overwhelming. Am I looking forward to going back to where Singolis experimented on me? Not even remotely. But I want to see this through to the end. I need to. The Grey Host can't summon the Storm without performing their ritual. And we know that requires witch pikes, so there's that. Plus the usual assortment of coven witches, vampires, and werewolves, I suppose. Nothing we can't handle, right? I had hoped to secure the sacred oil, and make enough elixir to distribute throughout the city. We're running out of time. Our best bet now is to find the ritual site beneath Solitude and stop the Harrowstone before it's unleashed. You're absolutely right. Especially after we found evidence of undermining down there. All I can say is that we were focused on other things. Let's go and save the city now, all right?
My father. A vampire. He sat on his throne, pretended to mourn for my mother, and said he had a plan. But all the while he was preparing the city for the Grey Host. He's worse than a monster. He's a traitor and a liar. I know. It's just... Look, we were never close. Not really. But he's my father. My king. What about you? Could you do it? Could you confront and maybe even kill one of your parents? An honest answer. And so much like my own. But does my indecision put the people I'm sworn to protect in even more jeopardy? I need to think about that. I'm going to do whatever I can to stop the Harrowstorm and save Solitude and its people. After that, we decide what needs to be done about Svargrim.
Yorin sent me with a warning for Solitude. Now I'm about to march into the starless depths of Blackreach to try to avert a massacre. How do I keep getting myself into these kinds of situations? I thought you knew me better than that. Taking on the impossible challenge, beating the unbeatable foe. This is what I'm good at. So yes, I do have to do this. And we're going to win. We have to. Svargrim. To cast his lot with the Grey Host, become a vampire, threaten his own people with the Harrowstorm. It's madness. One thing's for certain. We have to stop him. One step at a time. First, we make our way down into Blackreach. Then we find the ritual site. It must be right beneath the city. We smash witch pikes and kill as many Grey Host bastards as possible. After that, we pray to Kyne and hope for the best. That's ominous. And, unless I miss my guess, it's directly under Solitude. That's our target. The ritual site must be somewhere inside that horrid structure. I scouted the area before you arrived. It's full of Grey Host forces. And from what I could tell, Svargrim and Rada al-Saran are both inside. Not so fast. If we rush down as a group, they'll be on us like a snow bear on a horker. You go ahead. Try to cross the bridge to the main entrance. It's well guarded, but you're more than capable. Or you could try the alternative. So, you know about the sluice gate in the outer courtyard, against the eastern wall of the keep? You can avoid the few patrols in the area if you're stealthy. Opening the gate requires a key, but that should be simple enough to get your hands on. You know your strengths and weaknesses better than I do. Play to those. But whichever path you decide, move quickly. We need to find the ritual site and deal with the witch pikes before they unleash the Harrowstorm on the city. Cross the bridge, or use the sluice gate to get into the inner courtyard. Then find the keep's side entrance, east of the main stairs. I'll stay with Svanna and Finn. Make sure they don't get themselves killed. We'll meet you inside as soon as we can. That's a good question. I didn't see anything when I scouted the exterior, so the witch pikes must be somewhere inside the keep. I expect that once we... Nice of you to join us.
I don't understand. What am I supposed to do with these flasks?
If we run into trouble, throw one of them at the source. Then get out of the way.
I'm not sure what's in these flasks, but Fen told me not to shake them, or drop them, or breathe on them too hard. Let's get inside and find the ritual site before the Harrow Storm begins.
As I understand it, a vampire called Lady Yesenia controlled Greymour Keep. She was working with the Grey Host to undermine Western Skyrim before you put her down. The very stones of this keep. I sense something. We need to be on our guard. According to the Raven Watcher's research, no one actually owns the castle. Powerful individuals claim it from time to time, but the keep endures. Lady Yesenia is just the latest to occupy its halls. Why she's working with the Ashen Lord? Who can say? A feeling, like the very stones have been infused with powerful magic. It seems familiar, but it's also intense. I need some time to sort out and make sense of what I'm detecting.
Fen and Svanna weren't as helpless as I imagined. Still, it took all my skill not to draw the entire Grey Host down upon us. Let's get inside and look for that ritual site. We need to destroy the witch pikes or Solitude is doomed. We're about to enter the very heart of the Grey Host, and that's what you're thinking about? Get your head in the moment. We'll need you at your best if we're going to save Solitude. Split up and find the ritual site. We need to disrupt it.
Split up? I suppose that makes sense. I'll go with our friend here. This looks important. This book? I recognize the handwriting. It's Singalus's. It's more of his research. Harrowstorms, witch pikes, netherroot brew. How it all works together for the benefit of the Grey Host. This might be something. I just need to skim through these assumptions and incantations. What's this? Instructions on the placement of runes throughout Greymour. All the way to... My gods! This entire tower! It's a witch pike! The magic I sensed earlier. It was familiar because it's the same magic used in the Harrowstorm rituals. Don't you see? This entire keep is the ritual site. They turned the tower into a witch pike. But at the scale, I'm not sure we can destroy this tower. We need to keep going. Find a way to disrupt the ritual. But I think I understand what they're doing. Singalus found a way to release the Grey Host from Cold Harbor by using the Harrowstorms. The Harrowstorms steal life energy and use it to pull the souls of the Grey Host out of Cold Harbor and into the Grey Reliquaries. It's quite ingenious. How they reincorporate, though. It has something to do with those stone husks, I think. Oh, most certainly. Perhaps even a way to reverse the effects of the Harrowstorms and restore the Harrowed. If the notes are complete, just require study, experimentation, and time. Fortunately, we lack all three of those at the moment. Lyris, Svanna, I think this entire tower functions as a witch pike.
What? Fen, how is that even possible?
The energy! It burns!
That's my father! This way!
Pain is part of the process, Svargrim.
It's exquisite! My master!
Once you are attuned to Greymuor, the storm will be yours to command. Rise, Svargrim, and unleash my storm upon solitude. Then the last of the Grey Host shall be reborn.
The Ashen Lord. He turns Svargrim into the heart of his hero storm.
They're moving higher up the tower. We need to follow them.
You and Fen take these stairs. Svanna and I will go this way.
Look, a grey reliquary. Look, a grey reliquary. Just like the storm they planned to unleash on the city. Just like the storm they planned to unleash on the city. These corridors lead upward. They should take us to Svargrim and Rada al-Saran.
Found them.
Good. This whole place, the Grey Host is preparing to go to war.
And so the thorns arrive once more to prick my thumbs.
A barrier.
And Rada al-Saran?
Your persistence begins to annoy me, mortal. You killed my beloved brother and sister, Singalis and Ulfra. I freed them, and you sent them back. Back to the hated Molag Bal. I will see you suffer for that transgression. As much as it would please me to flay the flesh from your bones, I have more pressing matters to attend to. But know this, as I felt each death, you shall feel it when the Herald Storm takes every life in solitude. You shall feel it when you fail. Bold words, but futile. Svargrim rises and the Harrow Storm with him. Once the attunement is finished, they will be unstoppable.
What happened? What did that damn vampire do?
He's merging the power flowing through the keep with Svargrim, giving him control of the Harrowstone.
Then you must undo it. I'll stay and help. Leaders, you and our friend keep going up and find my father.
Waking up. Get ready to fight. Keep moving. Don't let them surround us. Come on, we're nearly through. Dead end!
We weren't able to stop the attunement spell. It's just getting stronger.
That tower. It must lead to the upper levels. I need time to get that door open.
Everyone, protect Fen! Good job. Through the door and to the upper levels now. Hurry!
Just... The whole keep. The shaking is getting worse.
Damn magic! Give me something to hit!
The magic. It's Al Saran. The attunement is almost complete.
We need to find my father. Leaders, take Fen that way. We'll go the other.
The attunement is complete, Svargrim. You and Greymour keep are one.
We need to hurry. We need to hurry. Rada Al Saran is leaving.
Remember your oath.
Oh, thank you. So high up, far beneath the ground.
In our moment of triumph? What game do you play, Rada al-Saran?
Game? I gave you power. If you can't conquer Skyrim, the fault is your own. Now ascend to your Tower of the Womb and unleash my most potent herald storm. The Grey Host is counting on you, little king.
Hold, friends! We followed the booming voices. Where's Svargrim?
My father's ascended into solitude. But Rada al-Saran, I think he's leaving.
Interesting. Lyris assumed the Grey Host was preparing to attack, but it's just as possible they're relocating their forces.
We'll figure that out later, after we stop my father.
Fair enough. Friends, lead the way.
My father's ascended into solitude.
Oh my.
What is it now, Fen?
Oh, nothing. Just don't look down. These tunnels look freshly dug. The Grey Host, Harrow Fiends. Is that what became of the herald Svargrim brought to Castle Dower?
Harrow Fiends, corralled like warhounds about to be set loose.
Up ahead. That's the temple's undercroft. What did they do to this place?
begun.
Look, above the Tower of the Wolf. The storm's only partially formed.
My father's up there. Open the gates and let's go.
But the Hierophant's below the temple. If they escape into the streets...
You and I will keep that from happening. Take the princess and deal with Svargrim, partner.
Yes. It's the only option. Let's go.
Behind us! The Hierophant! Broken loose! Get to the tower and stop Svargrim. We'll hold the gate.
I'm with you, my friend. Up the stairs.
Come to bear witness to my ascension. Radha al-Saran has given me power beyond anything you can imagine. Behold!
for Mother, for Solitude, and for every soul in Skyrim. Your ambition, your greed, look what it led to! We need to hurry. My father betrayed everything to aid the Grey Host. With his death, Solitude is saved. It's done. We killed my father and ended the Herostorm. The city still stands. Skyrim still stands. Although the Tower of the Wolf may have been damaged beyond repair. No, of course not. My father was the High King of Western Skyrim. I always thought he had the best interests of our holds and our people in his heart. But there was a darkness there. Jealousy, bitterness. He wanted to control all of Skyrim. For Svargrim, yes, I think it was. As for Rada al-Saran and the Grey Host, I'm not entirely sure what they're after. Enough of this. I need to get to work. With my father gone, someone has to pick up the pieces and restore the holds. First, on behalf of Western Skyrim, take this with my thanks. We would have been lost without you. Then, rest. Check on our friends. Injuries must be tended to, buildings repaired. Other wounds will take longer. We'll have more to do soon enough. Whatever Rada al-Saran and the Grey Host were planning, I think the worst is behind us as far as Western Skyrim is concerned. With with Svargrim dead, their grip on the holds comes to an end. Not officially. At least I don't think so. I feel like the whole world's crumbling around me. But the city's still standing, so that's something. I'm more worried about our friends. We left Lyris and Fen to hold of a horde of Hero Fiends. Hopefully they were able to hold the courtyard and keep those monsters out of the city. You go on ahead and check on them. I need to collect myself. Solitude needs Princess Svanna now. And I'm not quite ready to be her. Thank you. Help them and anyone else as best you can. I'll do the same. Once you're done with them, I'll find you and we can figure out what to do next. Gods, I hope so. Haven't we dealt with enough already? I need to see what happened firsthand. All the suffering and pain my father caused. I can't undo it, but I can make amends. Or at least try to.
Tell me truthfully, Lyris. How much of this blood is mine?
Not enough to be worried about. So, is it over? What happened to Svargrim? And where's Svanna? A parent's betrayal cuts deeper than a sword. But Svanna's strong. Stronger than she's been given credit for. And Solitude's going to need that strength in the coming days. If you told me the tavern rat we met at the Lonely Troll would become my choice to lead this land, I'd have called you mad. Then again, my king's a skald, so what do I know? Come on, there's probably something productive we should be doing. Last I heard, Sword Thane Uthlet was gathering everyone he could at the Hall of the Dead. Head over there and see how they weathered the Harrow Storm. I'll take care of securing Castle Dower. As for Fen, you might remind him we need a lot of elixir. We did our best to hold the Harrow Fiends inside Castle Dower, but nothing short of stone walls were going to keep those monsters from pushing through. Seemed like everyone I killed was replaced by 2 more. Almost didn't. We were nearly overrun before Fen went wild. I've never seen him like that, snarling and showing what a true vampire can do. Took the Harrow Fiends by surprise and we routed them. I did have to thwack him to clear his head, though.
You did it. I shouldn't be surprised. But things were looking rather bleak before the clouds parted. We held the gate as long as we could. The Harrow Fiends were a flood of claws and teeth. Once they burst through, Lyris cleaved through them like a scythe through wheat. But even she couldn't stem the tide. I'm not really sure. I kind of went wild. Let out my inner beast, as it were. I was rending and slashing. Then Lyris whacked me with the flat of her blade. At least that's the last thing I remember. Not my finest hour, but we survived. The Sword Thane gathered people in the Hall of the Dead. Go check on them while I pull myself together. This whole ordeal has been a lot more strenuous than I'm accustomed to. Then I'll get to work on the elixir and a cure for the Herod. Sadly, I don't think there's any hope for them. Their life energy was sucked dry, turning them into feral beasts. Restoring them is beyond my capabilities, I'm afraid. At least with the Herod, they're not so far gone as to be a lost cause. As soon as we produce enough of it, yes. We saw how it protected Svanna. Now, where did I put my flask?
Good to see you aren't raising bugs with Ismir just yet.
We saw the storm break, but we heard nothing since you departed from Blackreach.
I regret we didn't throw a parade to welcome you back, but I'll cheer enough for 100 souls if you tell me you put that backbiter of a High King to the sword. But what of Svanna? Is she? That's good, but a daughter shouldn't have to kill her own father. Svanna has my support, for whatever that's worth. She's going to need all the help she can get in the days to come. Not until we hold a moot to support her claim, and we need more than a single Jarl for that to occur. If Svanna proves herself as the acting Jarl, they might look past her father's failings and make her the queen, eventually. We can settle the matter of the crown when there's kingdom enough to rule. What remains of the holds are still ravaged by the Harrow storms, and I doubt we've seen the last of the Grey Host, for that matter. None good, but none bad either. My wife knows better than anyone how to care for our people. I trust she and my Thane to protect and care for Morthal in my absence.
We seem to have survived, thank the gods. I thought for certain we were all about to witness the end of the world. No thanks to Svargrim, damn his eyes. After you and the princess went off to Blackreach, I gathered whoever we could, and made our stand here in the Hall of the Dead. I'm just glad we don't have to be permanent residents. Far fewer than I feared when the storm began. Thanks to you and the princess. With the storm over and the Grey Host driven from Castle Dower, My soldiers will get the city back into shape. As long as no one else attacks us in the meantime.
They're here! They're at the gates!
The Grey Host? I thought we were done with them for now.
Not the Grey Host! The Skald King with an army from the east!
What treachery is this?
To the gates. We'll give the Skald King a proper welcome, one way or another.
Rich men from the west, packed from the east.
Now Cradle Crush is crawling with giants. Is that better? Really?
Stand down, you idiots! We come in peace.
Partner, could really use your knack for diplomacy right now. Speak to the Skald King before we start a war.
Sure save me from fools and prophets. Will no one properly greet a weary traveler?
I know that there's little love between East and West, but now's not the time to be picking a fight. Lyris's report on the rise of Grey Host had my father preparing for the worst. When we hadn't received word for some time, he decided to intercede. Svargrim. It's hard to believe the rumors were true. I didn't know him well, but I can't understand how anyone could throw away everything for the promise of power. What's immortality worth if there's nothing you hold dear? You'd have to ask him. As far as I can tell, the Western holds are in chaos. They could use a king who cares for his fellow Nords, but if the welcome we've received here is any indication, Solitude won't see it that way.
Ah, familiar face. Maybe you can talk some sense into these Western milk drinkers. We're not a damn invasion. We're here to help. Do you know what's going on? So the rumors are true? Svargrim joined the Grey Host? I knew he had ambitions, but to throw away his humanity like that, it's inconceivable. Svargrim once told me that he would die before welcoming me to Solitude. I suppose he was right. That's why I sent Lyris here in the first place. I'm not the king of these holds, though. I can't do anything if they refuse my help. Svargrim despised me. He would never accept my aid. But Svanna... here she comes now. Let's see what she has to say.
We have no need of help that involves welcoming your soldiers within our walls.
My walls, Jarl. My father may have been willing to slap aside the helping hand, but I'm not. Permit me a word with your envoy, Skald King. Thank you for holding the line, I'm ready to do what I should have done a long time ago. To do what my father never could. I'll speak with the Skald King. There's one more thing I'd like you to do while I entertain our guests. We saved Solitude, but our war with the Grey Host is far from over. We need Fenn's elixir more than ever. With that, and King Yoren's help, we might just push these monsters back into their grave for good. Check on Fenn's progress, please. That depends on Fenn. If there's anything standing in his way, let me know, and I'll do everything in my power to get him what he needs. Fenn is with old Mjolnir at the Mages Guild. When you're finished with him, join me in the courtyard of the Blue Palace. I'm going to hold a moment of remembrance for this city. We all need a moment to mourn what we lost. I'm going to invite the Skald King to join us. If the people of Solitude see him bow his head along with the rest of us, they may not care about the divide between the East and the West.
Ingenious. A rare thing to find an elf with the makings of a clever woman.
Despite what my kin might proclaim, it's not all in the blood. Ah, good, you're here. We've made a breakthrough. I was just discussing a theory with Mjolnir, and it seems like we're very close to turning this elixir into a true restorative. A cure. Singolis's research on the nether root showed me just how it weakens the connection between a body and soul. Thus far, I've been able to inure a person to the root, but now I'm certain I can use that knowledge to heal those weakened bonds. Well, it is just a theory at this point. There's a lot more testing and experimentation to be done before we can produce a viable antidote. Weeks, optimistically? I know. We can't simply put things on hold. Mjolnir and I have a batch brewing right now, and materials to keep producing for another day. Ingrid's promised us a steady supply of Arcase oil, but that's not our limiting factor. We know enough about Singolis's refinement processes to replicate his methods, but we still need a source of netherroot to do so. Tell Svanna that if she can keep us supplied, we can produce enough elixir for all the holds in a matter of weeks. We can ransack Greyhost's stockpiles, or mount an expedition into Blackreach. Otherwise, it would take decades of work to produce a proper crop. After we get the elixir squared away, we'll turn our attention to curing the Herald. Indeed. As I surmised, the Grey Reliquaries contained the remains of ancient Greyhost warriors. They served as a connection to the souls trapped in Cold Harbor. Using the energy from the Harrowstorms, the souls were pulled into the stone husks. I believe the stone husks are incubators of a sort. The physical forms of the Grey Host are reincorporated within the stone vessels, through a mix of Singolis's alchemy and sorcery, and the magic of the Ice Reach witches. When whole, they burst free.
I have seen many things in my time, but never could I have predicted I would soon train adepts of the Mages Guild in the arts of my ancestors. This is an institution of elves. They know nothing of the soul of the world. Here, magic is a thing to be measured and weighed. Mages know. They do not feel. Necessity and a hope they can learn. If we're to brew enough elixir for everyone in the kingdom, it will take all the herb grinders in the holds. Here at least they know how to use a mortar and pestle.
What is it?
I was hoping you'd return before we began. Tell me you've got good news. I'll feel a lot better delivering a speech about healing and hope, knowing that we're on the road to recovery. What did Fen have to say about the elixir? Not the best news, but I'll take it. So long as we have enough to protect our soldiers, we have a fighting chance against the Grey Host. I'll go to the Undergrove myself, if that's what it takes. Now that would be cause for celebration. If he can really bring back even a fraction of those we lost to the Harrowstorms, I'm willing to try. That's all I needed to hear. We should begin the ceremony before the crowd grows more restless. Nothing fancy, just a traditional Nord wake. To mourn and celebrate those we've lost, and cherish the lives we still have. I'd like you to join us. None of us would be here to sing dirges for the dead or celebrate the living if not for you. I certainly wouldn't be here, ready to lead my hold. You've supported me since I started down this path. I'm honored to have you here at the end.
'What is it?
'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? 'What is it? ' Sons and daughters of Skyrim, we have the honor today of remembering the dead.
Honor to the fallen.
Sons and daughters of Skyrim, our trials were fierce, but we are still here.
We stand and we remain.
Now, we raise our voices to tell Sovngarde of the coming of the worthy dead, and to tell the world that the Nords are still here. We are still standing!
The fallen now march home to hallowed halls, to join our ancestors in boundless drink and song and brawls. Let's sound the horns, let peal the bells, let loose the ancient hymn. We will remain until time ends, we children of Skyrim.
I can't think of a more fitting send-off for my father than Nords of both kingdoms mourning side by side. Skyrim may be divided, but at least our honored dead are united in Sovngarde. Yoren, Redharn, and I need to form a plan to distribute Fenn's elixir and push back against the Grey Host. And acquire more netherroot, it seems. There's a lot to be done, but I'm surrounded by good people. I trust we'll get through this together. I can't leave everything to you, you know. Well, I probably could. But even Isgramor took a rest now and again. Let us shoulder the burden for a while. I'm sure I'll need to call on you again soon enough. I don't know. It's not important, not right now. What matters is rallying the people against the enemy. Our real enemy. If that means seeking the crown, then I'll do what needs to be done. Sovngarde is a place for the honored dead. Svargrim gave up his seat in the Hall of Valor when he made his pact with the Ashen Lord. Wherever he is, I hope he regrets how he got there.
Walker, you and Fenorian did well to stop the traitor king. We will make sure no other threats befall the city. We swear it. Rada El Saran is still out there, and eventually he might try something like this again. Solitude may be safe, for now, but wherever he strikes next may not share the same fortune.
Nothing like standing in a crowd of Nords who barely survived a brush with vampires to make you miss Ravenwatch Castle, eh? We've been told to hold position and monitor the Grey Host's activities, though I'd wager you've done most of the heavy lifting already. It'll very nearly be a bit of a holiday after everything else that's happened.
Solitude's had a rough time of it. Talene and I were planning on heading to Somerset, and I think we could both do some good work here. We can help rebuild and make the city better than it ever was. My thirst for adventure was sated during our time in Lightless Hollow, I assure you. After we help the people here, I fully intend to give Talene a few years of uneventful bliss. Maybe we'll start for Somerset again. Who knows?
Well, you certainly keep busy. I'm sorry for the loss these people have suffered. My husband and I would like to help however we can. It might not be the retirement I envisioned for us, but it's the right thing to do. If I can convince Vigor, I'd like to take him to Somerset. I fear he'll get bored with nothing to do, but perhaps you really did cure him of his appetite for adventuring.
My heart goes out to these people. We are no strangers to conflict back east, but none of our holds have been ravaged by the kind of devastation brought by the Grey Host. We are fortunate that you stopped them. So I've heard. The princess has come a long way from the girl I met so long ago. And I've changed as well. I'm not quite as obnoxious and close-minded as I was when my father first formed the Ebonheart Pact. At least I try not to be. If the princess remains in charge of the Western Holds, I think the chances of true reconciliation are good. My father will certainly do everything he can to make that happen. And so will I. Princess Svana, she's become a very impressive woman.
In their own way, the people of Western Skyrim are as strong as the Nords of the East. Even after so much suffering, they still stand against the howling wind. We shall do everything within our power to help them recover. Blood alone does not make one worthy to rule a hold, let alone an entire kingdom. The princess will lead for now, but many questions must be answered before the Jarls crown a new ruler of Solitude. That's what a moot is for. If Princess Svana agrees, I want to bring more of my people from Eastmarch to help restore Solitude and the Western Holds. My retinue is too small to deal with everything. We need more hands. All I can do is to offer my aid in good faith. Whether they decide to grab my hand or to slap it away, that's up to them. Despite our differences, I love this land. It's as much Skyrim as my beloved Eastern Holds. I would not see it suffer. Today, no, the time isn't right. As for the future, who can say? Svargrim was never interested in finding a path to reconciliation. Princess Svana isn't a father, that much is clear. So I suppose I can hope.
Princess Jarl Svana reminds me more of the Queen every passing moment. We're in good hands, I think. I'll pledge myself to her, if she'll have me. I was fool enough to follow Svargrim as long as I did, so it's more than I deserve. He did, but I was by his side day in and day out. If anyone should have seen what he was becoming and put a stop to it, it was me. I owe a lot to Solitude for my failure. If Svana allows me to repay it, I'll be glad.
I hadn't had a moment to honor the fallen of Morthal since you came to my doorstep. Kind willing, they made their passage to Sovngarde. When things are settled here, Jarlmarch has weathered these storms better than Hafengar and Carthal. If we can keep the kingdom from complete collapse, it's worth a few weeks away from my home and hearth.
I'm glad to be done with this. Diplomacy and investigation aren't my favorite pastimes. They seem to suit you, though. You stepped up to the task better than I could have hoped. I'll be staying so long as Joran's here, or until I can persuade him to send me after Rada al-Saran. That leech owes a lot of blood to us, and I intend to squeeze it out of him. We have to find him first. Whatever his plans were after sacking Solitude, we haven't uncovered them. With any luck, the Skald King will send me on a raid of the Grey Host, and I can beat some answers out of a few of them. Count on it.
We made it through, if barely. When the clouds began to gather over Castle Dower, I feared I'd have to witness. Thank you for stopping it. I don't know that my heart could bear another Carthwatch. The rest of Carthold fared as poorly as its capital. The hold has been laid to waste, its people dead or scattered. With so few left to rebuild and resettle, I fear the Reachmen will come to claim it long before the Nords set roots there again. I have already pledged myself to Svana. I will serve as her court mage. I hope to counsel her better than I did Jarl Ulfwen. For now, I've used my status in the Mages Guild to solicit their aid in producing the Harrowstorm elixir.
I could not have said it better myself. Princess Svana will make a fine ruler. Of course, some may choose to blame her for her father's misdeeds, but I will seek forgiveness from them. There have been enough divisions of blood and feuding. It is a new day. This is a time to mend rifts and forge new bonds.
After everything I've seen, I can no longer place my faith in Meridia. But I refuse to abandon my friends. We will attempt to seal the temple and purge the corruption. If it were up to me, I would leave it in ruins.
This is wonderful! A bard and a celebration go together like wine and... wine! You know, the college has bonded together once again because of you. We won't soon forget it. Or maybe we will. We're bards after all. Truth is sometimes sacrificed on the altar of entertainment.
Mother always told me stories of growing up in solitude, but I never expected it to feel like this. All these people, and buildings are so close together. How does anyone live here without feeling trapped? As funny as it is to say, out of place. I spent so long in exile. I'm happy to be home. Mother has been so kind to me, but there is so much I need to mend with her, with my father. But I'm here, thanks to you. We all are, as I hear.
My friend, you have done so much for the holds of Western Skyrim. I fear it is a debt that can never be repaid. And bringing Freywin back to us, you will always have my thanks. Freywin's return is a blessing. Some have just taken longer to understand that. Sadly, there are no balms for broken trust.
I won't let what happened to Carthwatch happen anywhere else. If the Reachmen think they can take my homeland, I have an axe that will teach them otherwise. I must find a new home for my brothers and sisters of Carthwatch. My brother Fenrir spoke to Jarl Redharn. It may be that we settle in Morthal. I think Bjorra would prefer the high walls of Solitude, though. Wherever we go, we'll stick together.
We've had a long road from Carthwatch to here, but all of us survived the journey unharmed. We are together, thanks to you. Our town may be gone, but thank the gods Solitude didn't suffer a similar fate. Our town is lost. I've heard stories of towns left empty and untouched after fire, sickness, or storm. I don't see Carthwatch's fate being any different. As for the Hold, I suspect the Reachmen take control. There's no one left to fight back. Nothing new, thank the Eight. But the memories of what those witches put in my head still haunts me. What could it mean? The sisters believed I am a descendant of some rich hero, but I have no interest in that. As far as I care, I am a Nord.
We heard what happened to the city, my friend. After everything you've done for my crew, it seemed only right that we come to offer our help. Trying to get things up and running again. We're still searching for a shipwright to make the necessary repairs on the Silver Cormorant, but her sailing days are far from over.
You gave those Grey Host bastards a good fight, I'll give you that. Now that Dark Moon Grotto is safe again, I'm itching to do the same.
You have shown yourself to be a true warrior. Not only at Mor Khazgor, but here too. My clan is eager to repay you and help these people. We know they're suffering all too well.
As soon as we heard you were caught up in everything going on in Solitude, Captain Malvok had us set out straight away. You may not sail with us, but you're crew, and we look after our own. We'll have a proper funeral for our lost crew when we return home. Eventually, we'll refit and continue our work. A little older and wiser, I suppose. You've got a habit of saving people and places, don't you? I'm not complaining, of course, merely observing. I've certainly got my work cut out for me here anyway. Doing the only good I know how. Boosting morale, of course. With the mess in Dragon Bridge cleaned up, I've been getting my regular shipments again, which means mead, and a lot of it. I may not be much good at rebuilding, but I know how to keep cups flowing.
Ina acts like I'm made of glass these days, but I feel stronger than ever. I may have injured my arm, but I can still help Solitude. Better without those Reach bastards crawling through our tunnels like rats. The bridge still stands, thanks to you. And with the strain taken off our operation and the garrison, we're free to help out around here.
Looking around Solitude, it puts what happened at Dragon Bridge in perspective. I think the Western Holds owe you more than they know. Well enough. They're tired, but managing. I think everyone here feels the same. Looks like we could all use a drink. Luckily, Ina's here to help.
The bastards who did this. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to make them pay for it. But we're done chasing ghosts below ground for now. We're here to help however we can. Once we help the people of Solitude get back on their feet, I imagine we'll go back to Blackreach. Though our initial investigation didn't reveal anything supernatural, there is still much to uncover and explore. I do not believe our work here is over.
As soon as we heard the news, Claudina insisted we come to offer whatever aid we could. Once again, you have proven yourself to be incredibly brave and downright fearless. If there's anything I can do to help, just ask. Claudina seems intent on going back to Blackreach. After we help the poor people of this place rebuild, we'll head there. Spirits may not have been the culprits of what happened in Dusktown, but that doesn't mean they aren't down there.
We all lost someone today. A comrade, a father, a friend. I'm fortunate enough to have gained a good leader, at least. Well, who do you take me for? It'd besmirch my reputation to abandon a kingdom in such desperate need of cheer. Mog does not leave a place less joyful than he finds it. I'll be coordinating morale efforts from the Lonely Troll if you need me.
Well?
Ice heels walking the streets of Solitude? What's our hold coming to?
Quiet you! Princess Svanna and her allies saved us all. And one of them was an Eastern half-giant.